and gentlemen, after 5 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. The judges score the contest 48-47, 48-47, and 48-46 for the winner by unanimous decision, Dustin the Diamond Poirier.
Welcome to Kyle Anthony's UFC betting show. I am Kyle Anthony, and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the bet review show for UFC on ESPN 12, Poirier versus Hooker. We had 7 plays that we gave out overall, 3 client plays, 4 free plays. We went 6-1 last night. Big night last night overall, including a free play that was a plus 240 winner. So we will get into all of that. Big night overall. Feels good to come back and have a strong night after vacation last week. I'm already getting, people writing me telling me not to take vacation. So let's keep that in mind the next time I decide to go away. But what we will do, we will definitely talk about first is the client plays. We had 3 client plays overall, went 3-0 on them. So the first one we're going to talk about overall is going to be Tanner Boser, who was a winner for us at minus 106 against Philip Lins. And this was a fight here. And again, if you want to check out the write-up that the clients get when they do make the purchase, you can go check it out on Wagertalk. You can go to the analysis, see the breakdown that everybody gets prior to the fight. And the big thing that I liked here about Boser was his combinations, was the way that he worked, his footwork. For a heavyweight, very light-footed kind of guy as well, mixes it up very well overall. And you got Lins on the other side that, he's got the grappling credentials, and that's something that I think a lot of people gravitated towards when they bet Lins. But the big part that I didn't like was the fact that he doesn't really have good takedown ability. He does not have that very simplistic striking, and I like the way that Boser overall mixes it up. In this fight here, Lins tried to get in tight a couple times, even tried to grapple a little bit, but Boser's quick hands, he went in there, landed a big bomb early, ended up rocking Lins. Lins went to the ground, put him away early. It was a nice one to start the night overall, going out there, getting a first round knockout for the client. So that was a win for us there on the client plays. The other client play was Maurice Green at minus 215. That's what I had given it out at. That line shot up to roughly minus 260, minus 270 I saw at some places. So the line definitely went up. So we had Maurice Green did win against Jean Volante. And this was a fight here where, first of all, I did send out a lot of messages to people showing them the weigh-in, and that was something obviously a lot of people talked about. But the weigh-in, I just can't believe how bad Volante looked. That looked like a guy, Volante is not a guy that's going to be shredded by any means, but he's a pretty big dude, and, he definitely has more strength to him, and he looked horrible. And that made me actually, feel a little bit better about the play overall. But what I liked before even looking at that way, and obviously gave out these plays on Tuesday, was a big part that, Green is another guy that I think he has a great potential. I think he really has a great potential. I think that sometimes he doesn't do enough when he's in the cage. And the thing about it was he has the 4-inch reach advantage. He has a 4-inch height advantage. He definitely has better striking than Volante. Volante's looking for the one big shot. Even the way that Green uses his kicks a little bit in there, but Volante had a nice strategy early when he was just throwing leg kicks. He really was just firing off leg kicks, and never did Green check it. And that was something that started to concern me as the fight was going on, but Green was doing enough, I think, per round to kind of squeak it out. Even into that 3rd round, I thought that, hey, we're looking at a 2-0, maybe a 1-1, but I thought that he had won the first 2 rounds overall. But I think the thing also with Green was that he wasn't active enough, and he allowed Volante to really walk him down and shorten that distance. Obviously that's how you're gonna, really kind of void out that reach advantage, is if you just kind of move forward, not care, shorten the distance, and start working in tight. And a lot of times, even when they had they were separated, Green needed to get those jabs going. He needed to really kind of push forward a little bit. And every time he did, Volante had no answer. And then as soon as he kind of let Volante in, that's kind of when, it started to get a little bit more favorable to Volante overall. But in the fight, he goes in there, gets the submission victory in that 3rd round. Felt good to get that one as well. And again, we were ahead of the money. We got a good price, the best price you could possibly get on Green. It was a 4% play. That hit, so that makes us 2-0 on the client plays. And the other one was Brendan Allen versus Kyle Dawkins, and this was a fight here where, short notice for Kyle Dawkins. He, coming into short notice, debuting fight, a lot of things were stacked against him overall. We ended up betting Allen at minus 275. That was an earlier line that we had got. That shot up to almost 350, minus 350. So crazy where that line ended up going on. Again, we got a great price on that fighter. And, early on, I thought Allen was doing well. I thought there was a lot of things that he was doing well. I think grappling was looking well. But, Kyle was going in there and he was really laying some nice shots. He was keeping it in tight, keeping it close. He even ended up, taking some damage by Allen. Allen ended up landing some nice shots, cut him. And that was when I really said, this fight's going to be submission. We're going to get this victory. And Dawkins kept pushing forward. He kept pushing forward. I mean, a lot of credit going out to him. How close he actually made that fight. As the fight continued to go on, he was getting good top control, Allen. He kind of was dictating a little bit pace of the fight. A couple times that I thought that he pulled guard, which I'm assuming that a lot of times, obviously, when people do that, they're tired, the cardio's down, the gas tank is out, and they just want to do what they're best at, which is grappling. So it looked like that's what Allen was doing. I did not like what was going on there, especially he was pulling guard against another guy who actually has some decent ground credentials, good, decent grappler. So kind of interesting there, but Allen did what he needed to do, reverse some positioning, kept top control, kept top, kind of at least on the ground, kept top control, and at least to the judges, kept a good spot where he was able to at least kind of work on the scorecards. So overall there, that was another win. So that makes us 3-0 on the client plays overall. That was a great part of this night, knocking out those 3 wins. The other ones that we gave out on this show on Tuesday, the free plays. The first one we're going to talk about is the main event. And I think the main event is one that's very interesting because this was a fight where, we bet Dustin Poirier at minus 215. Line kind of stayed around there pretty much for the week. Didn't really tick up too much. I think really towards fight, it ticked up a little bit. But this was a great fight here. And the thing that we really liked about Poirier, and again, you can check it out on my prediction show, have it posted, was that Poirier, this is a smaller cage to me, really favors Dustin Poirier. And just the way that he's good, they both did it. They both kind of stood in a phone booth and just traded big shots. And Hooker is tough as hell. I mean, that's one thing about him, tough as hell, which is also why we did bet this fight to go to a decision at plus 240. And, both these guys are tough to put away. I mean, look who some of these guys have fought and how tough and close some of these fights were and these wars that they were in. I mean, even his war up against Paul Felder for Hooker. You see Poirier up against Gaethje. I mean, some of these fights have just been brawls. So Poirier was able to go out there and kind of keep it going. And the reach advantage and the things that Hooker does, I think really favors a bigger cage. And that was something, even in my breakdown, that I liked more about Poirier's because they're going to have to fight closer. Poirier is going to be able to get in tight, get in close, get in boxing range, force Hooker to really just use in tight strikes compared to staying outside, using his range. A lot of the stuff that he did against Felder, where he was able to kind of, Felder wanted to get in close, get into the clinch, and he couldn't do it. And Hooker was able to kind of, he's a good fighter, able to move around the cage, use some angles, use his striking from the outside. So that was a part of me that this fight, it can't as much happen. You can see where at times where, Hooker kind of backed up a little bit and his back was against the cage. And then you saw Poirier kind of throw some heavy shots, heavy hooks, heavy boxing. So the fight goes to a decision. So we were able to cash in on Dustin Poirier to win, as well as we had as our prop the main event to go to a decision plus 240. So we cashed in on both of those as well. Then we went to the co-main event. Now the co-main event, we had Mike Perry to win, and we had Mike Perry to win by knockout. And this was a fight here where I thought that Poirier, I thought that Perry really was going to be able to put this fight away. There were spots in there where he was landing big shots. I got to say that Gall definitely improved his striking big time, knowing that this was going to be a brawl. And instead of, he couldn't get Perry down, Perry actually even took Gall down, which I thought was very interesting, completely different of a kind of skill set that Perry has compared to Gall being, a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu guy and got some nice credentials there. But Gall stood in there, took some heavy shots, but Perry just, I think, a very different Perry, and where he didn't just rush. He had a lot of patience. Even when I thought he hurt Gall, he kind of took his time. He kind of allowed himself to kind of work from the outside still, land some big shots, circle a little bit. That's not the Perry we're all used to. We're used to Perry being the wild man, although he just had his girlfriend in his corner. Didn't really need it because there was nothing really else to really talk about because it was a standing match. That's what Perry was basically saying. I don't need people to tell me that it's going to be a standing fight, what I need to do. But overall, he goes in there. He does get the win. And again, we bet Perry at minus 280, 275 in that range. And that line shot up to, minus 330. So we got our money in good. Not only did we go 6-1 in all of our plays, we got our money in good. We got it in early. And again, obviously some, depending where these lines go, you get a little bit more value. You don't get a little more value. But at the end of the day, you got to pick fucking winners, right? So we go out there. We go 6-1. Very happy about that overall. 3-0 on the Klein plays. And then we have now a week off, which is going to be nice. We do have a week off. And from there, there's going to be about 3 events in a week. So kind of working through all that now, starting to do my capping now on UFC 251 on Fight Island. Cannot wait for that card. I actually have some plays that I'm very excited to talk about. Already looking towards a few, capping them now. So we'll definitely talk about that in a week, 2 weeks, whenever that we're going to have the following Tuesday. We'll have show out again, and we'll also have the Klein play. So there you have it, and I will see you next time. Enjoy your day. This is Kyle Anthony's UFC Betting Show, and I'll see you next time.